America, this is not a presidential candidate. This is a raving lunatic, an evil-minded, self-centered villain. A person wounded by childhood and must hear nothing but raves about him. He's the best ever. No, but if you disagree with him, may you rot in hell. The actual quote of his. And for those who disagree, he likes to come up with nicknames. Tampon Tim, Pocahontas, Comrade, Kamala. It's madness, okay? But yet he's proud of this Mr. Nickname status. And what you have is a gloating buffoon. Actually, this is buffoonery, but it's dangerous because a lot of low information people listen and swallow his rubbish. For example, Christmas of 23, he stated, "Merry Christmas to all, including crooked Joe Biden's only hope, deranged Jack Smith, the out-of-control lunatic who just hired outside attorneys, fresh from the swamp, unprecedented, to help him with his poorly executed witch hunt against Trump and MAGA. Included are also world leaders, both good and bad, but none of which are as evil and sick as the thugs we have inside our country, who, with their open borders, inflation, Afghanistan surrender, Green New Scam, high taxes, no energy independence, woke military, Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Iran, all electric car lunacy, and so much more, are looking to destroy our country. May they rot in hell." Again, Merry Christmas. What lunacies. Absolutely bonkers. And then, of course, this petulant child gloats, stating all of the women on The Apprentice flirted with me, consciously or unconsciously. That's to be expected. God, Achafi. And so I'd like to introduce my name for the man. My nickname is the American Petulant. He's not a president, he's a petulant. And so I decided to create an official seal of the petulant of the United States. All he deserves is that position. And if we monitor his behavior, physical behavior, we can see it, okay? He thinks he's clever, whatever it is, even cheeky, but then he starts to change if he doesn't get what he wants. And it starts to get really, really sort of dark. And he grows, and he starts to cry, get wounds, and it's childish behavior. And then, of course, this is shockingly evident that he's off his trolley and needs therapy, big time. This horrible pouty face is augmented by this horrible comb-over, anyway. But it continues, and he just doesn't understand. How dare you disagree with me? This is what he sort of think. And this is the classic one of any child who says, "What? I didn't do it. It's not me." And of course, he starts to, pout, groan, and then starts to seethe because he wants it. He can't believe he's not getting it. Then it turns to shouting, and then screaming. Oh my God! More screaming. More screaming. Vesuvius is about to go off. Yes, he is an erupting volcano. And he's also a child. And it's not being observed by just myself, it's being observed by most of the world. And then he had to state this: we don't want other leaders and other countries laughing at us anymore. And they won't be. They won't be. Okay. But I have news for him. I have a question. The world is laughing at America? I don't laugh at America. No. What is happening, actually, sir, is that actually the world is laughing at him. You. Whatever. In fact, there was a campaign to ban him from Britain a while ago. Over 1 million people in Britain voted to ban the bastard. And then, of course, this buffoonery of recent, what? And it reminded me of something, the pose. It's just he does always with his flapping hands. It's like a big giant seal or flapping walrus, whatever. And of course, it's the world that's laughing at him, not the country. In fact, we have a lot of great sympathy for Americans having to tolerate this blowhard, this bloviating buffoon. And of course, we're having a good chuckle at him. And then, of course, when it comes to free speech, right, he's not a big fan of it, despite what he says. So here is Australian artist at 18, moves to Los Angeles and puts up a portrait that she has of Trump, okay? And, of course, in the city center of Los Angeles, she's ganged up upon, and it's amazing. Beaten, put in hospital for a portrait, okay? And then Trump attempted to sue her. And so the painting had to be sent to the Maddox Gallery in London. Okay? Thankfully, hundreds of people could see it, and it provided great pleasure to those who see him for what he is. In fact, other leaders were having a good go, and also it was noted by the press at the time, which he doesn't like, a press, but too bloody bad. World leaders are laughing at Trump. And it's not just once, multiple times. And so yes, he's got to understand that it's him that is the source of everyone's laughter. He's the brunt of the joke. And for good reasons. He's been caught lying or distorting the truth multiple times. And then, of course, there's other things that are ridiculous, as he blames the wildflowers in California for unclean floors. I think he's trying to suggest that forests have floors, which they don't. They have ground, yes, and that's part of the cycle. Leaves, all the debris that drops to the ground in the forest breaks down into carbon and into the soil, which is what feeds soil, nourishes the soil, and is part of the thing called the carbon cycle. He wouldn't know that. And then, of course, there was this back in 2017. He put out this thing, what nobody knows what covfefe is, and that's a good source of humor for everyone. And then, of course, the idea, reality, that he cannot complete a thought. Here's what he said recently publicly. You've worked so hard on the kidney. Very special, the kidney. Very special. The kidney has a very special place in the heart. Now, okay, he was probably going to say in the heart of some surgeon or something, but he didn't, because he's not able to complete a thought. And then later, back in 2015, his doctor proclaimed that Trump is the healthiest president ever. What? How do you make that assertion when there are no other records? We don't have medical records to compare Lincoln, Washington, Jefferson, all these blokes. You can't say this. And of course, in the photo, he's eating KFC. What are you talking about? This is a good bit of fodder for laughter. And then, of course, another great chuckle was, when he apparently an American football team won, I guess, a championship of sorts, and he invited that team to the White House for a banquet. And of course, he served fast food to the entire team. What? This was hysterical. This is not a banquet. And what sort of athlete eats this rubbish? No, how embarrassingly funny that was. And we're not laughing at America, laughing at Trump. Yes. And it's not just the world. It's recent. This is the Oscar program earlier in 2024, and it was made hysterical with this little bit of laughter at Trump's expense. That's right, okay, guys, whether they like it or not, it's him people are laughing at. You, sir, are a joke. And it goes further, more proof of this grift that is endless. It is embarrassing. And it's fuel for laughter. Fuel for laughter. Any sort of thing, he's going to chuck it. He doesn't care. And this, I might say, these poses, this is ridiculous. All these NFT things where he's, a fireman, a cowboy, whatever, okay? No. So much rubbish creates so much laughter. And by the way, it's the presidency. Okay? It is not cosplay. Which is also embarrassing. And that's what the world is laughing at. And of course, there's him crying all the time. Everyone is against him. And he's crying foul constantly. And thus he's always the victim. So, Mr. Nickname, here's an accurate one I've created for you. The petulant orange oaf. That's right. Petulant orange oaf. Again, petulant orange oaf. Or simply poo, I like. Or poo poo mouth. I like that a lot too. And it's deserved. He's always claiming wounds, despite being fact-checked numerous times, which he doesn't like. In fact, he said ABC need to stop fact-checking him. No, we don't. Everyone should fact-check everyone. Be a skeptic. You can't just claim something and then expect it to be believed. It's bollocks. So I say we come up with any form of the name. Pooh, Mr. Pooh, Poo Poo Mouth. These are all grand and apt descriptions of him. And, we can't forget that his success on duping the low information crowd is that he focuses on promoting myth over fact. This is a joke. He's not the Superman, whatever it is. No, this is the actual reality. Fat slob, okay? Hateful fat slob. And he's duped even these blokes, okay? Which is really frightening. And what's interesting to me is, why does anyone need this gear? Do you know what I mean? So these guys may act tough, get the right weaponry and so forth, but they're actually frightened. That's why they revert to this. But you know what? If they actually had books instead of weapons, they might learn something and realize they don't need this shit because the man has misled them. And people are supporting him even though he wears diapers because he's incontinent. Oh my God. And this bit, he's God? In God we trump? No. And it leads to this propaganda that is just unbelievably, it's insulting, offensive. And this is what I call the actual state of Trump derangement syndrome. He likes to call it as people, they're demented because, or deranged because they don't agree with him. No, sir. Those who agree with you are deranged. And so this movement of his is batshit, crazy, scary, and very toxic because it is toxic. So vote the man down, okay? America, do your best to save humanity. It's not just America that is at stake. It is the world because of that buffoon. Chuck him into the waste bin of history. That's right. Vote Harris Walsh. Real adults. Only thing this man, Tampy Trump, deserves is the seal of the petulant of the United States. That's all he is. That's all he should ever be. Place the seal on his orange jumpsuit as you chuck him into the waste bin of history. Ta.